Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Biscuits and SEC Live. I am Bossman. This is Mike Huesmann joining me, filling in here for Hammer. Hammer is out on an elk hunt. He is hunting the ghosts of the forest right now in Colorado. So he will be back next week. But Mike Enough was kind enough to fill in. So Mike, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing well. Yeah, glad to be here. Should be a fun episode. Got a lot of good games this weekend. Should be a good, fun weekend of ball, starting with some good Thursday, Friday games.
No kidding. It's going to be a lot of fun this week for sure. If you guys are just joining us from Bama After Dark, I know that Jake Thomas, our friend, let us in on the show. So welcome to Biscuits and SEC Live. If it's your first time here, we're glad to have you. If you haven't checked out Jake's show, be sure to go check out Bama After Dark. He's doing a great job over there breaking down the Tide if you guys are Crimson Tide fans. Before we get into it, as always, everybody, biscuitsandsec.com/newsletter. Go sign up for the Morning Biscuits newsletter, which is written by myself and Hammer every Monday and Friday during the season. It comes to you free to sign up. So be sure to check that out. Really, it's just all about the SEC, everything to get you caught up and ready to go for another SEC Saturday and a weekend of exciting games. So we're going to get right into it. We got Gabe Bock coming up later. Really excited to have him on. I've listened to Gabe for a very long time. Obviously here being an Aggie, listened to TexAgs Radio for a long time and have listened to Gabe for a long time as well. He's doing a lot now with a real estate business at Bock Realty Group and also has another podcast as well that he does with Billy Lucci now called Lucci Bock TexAgs, which is a fantastic name.
What a great name. That's a fantastic name.
Absolutely nailed it. So going to be a lot of fun to have him on. We'll also have his son on, Easton Bock. Easton is an aspiring sportscaster, wants to walk in dad's footsteps. So it'll be exciting to have him on and give him a chance to talk about some of these games coming up this weekend, which are great. But before we get into the games for week 5, we got to talk a little bit about week 4. And there was a ton of interesting stuff that happened in week 4, and we'll get to as many of these games as we can before we got to bring Gabe on. So we're just going to run through them here. Mike and I will go back and forth, but I think we need to start in Oklahoma, talking a little bit about Oklahoma and Auburn, how that game went. It was a fascinating game. There was a lot of issues, at least on the side of officiating. In my opinion, I think Auburn got completely screwed in that game. But at the end of the day, wins the win. Oklahoma gets the win. They play well enough to get the win. And the only problem is, though, may have been a bit of a Pyrrhic victory because we got John Mateer, who's potentially now out for a month with the hand injury. So give me some of your thoughts on this game, Mike, and kind of where Oklahoma goes from here with John Mateer out now for the foreseeable future.
Their margin for winning certainly becomes smaller, but they didn't win that game because of John Mateer. They did it because their pass rush was unbelievable. Yeah. Now, Auburn's pass D was atrocious. The two go hand in hand, but you have 13 sacks in an SEC game, you're almost always going to win that. And they really got after it on defense. And not only were they good at pass rushing, it tells me big picture and reinforces something we knew. Venables, now as the D coordinator, really knows how to game plan for everybody. And nobody's going to catch them, I think, and you're not going to surprise them with things they're not prepared for. Now, their run game was not good. We've said it a few times this year against Michigan. It wasn't good. Then it was good against Temple. You go against Auburn, and John Mateer was their leading rusher. We had 29 yards only on the ground. So they have to get better at that. With him out, Michael Hawkins was the starter last year. He'll be the guy now. At least you have a veteran who has played before, but Mateer was one of the prohibitive favorites in the Heisman up to this point, and he really looked the part both running and throwing the ball. 8 or 9 games in a row, he had a running and a throwing touchdown. Only the third time I think somebody done that. He's a loss. He would be for anybody.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it'll be interesting to see what Michael Hawkins has, right? I mean, we saw him last year and looked decent at times, but for the most part, looked like he was in over his head.
If he looked that good, they wouldn't have went in the portal and got one of the best guys out there.
Exactly. That's right. So Tough loss for Oklahoma. They do have a bye this week, right? And they've got a couple. I think they've got one game maybe before they have Texas. Let's see. There's their schedule right here.
They have a bye. Then they have Kent State, probably the worst or one of the worst FBS teams.
Yeah, Kent State. We've got to update our schedules here. We haven't had a chance to, but we will get to that soon. But yeah, I mean, you can see it there. Kent State and then Texas. So Texas looks like they probably are going to get OU without John Mateer. We'll see how quickly he can get back. One thing I took from this game was with Auburn, this team, even with all the faults, all the issues that they had, you were in this game up until the end, and you had a shot. And this Oklahoma team is very good. With John Mateer, this is obviously a top 10 team, potentially a college football playoff team. And so I think Auburn can stick toe-to-toe with anybody in the country right now, which I don't think you could have said that about this team a year ago. So even there, it's at least somewhat of an upgrade with Jackson Arnold at QB. Still have some issues throwing the ball down the field. I mean, they're still not utilizing the weapons on the outside with Eric Singleton and with Cam Coleman at the clip that you want, right? I mean, those guys are unbelievable, especially Cam Coleman. Cam Coleman's a top 5 wide receiver in college football. Yeah. And you could argue he's the best wide receiver in college football. So
their D-line's pretty good too. Like on the defensive side of the ball, they're doing some things well.
Definitely. I mean, we'll talk about this game later with Gabe Bock and Easton, but
I do wonder with Auburn, like you said, they're now competitive with the top teams. Are they going to be able to turn those into wins, or are they going to be like Florida was a couple years ago, Nebraska against Scott Frost, where you're always in these games, but you don't win these games? I worry about that with this team because their deficiencies will be taken advantage of. If you can't throw the ball and protect the QB, you're not going to win many games.
That's right. I need to find the stat again, but I saw somebody put it up that Hugh Freeze was like I've got it right here. So Hugh Freeze in one-score games is 2-7 at Auburn, 22%. So to your point, right, Auburn in these games, they're going to have to figure out how to win these close games, and Hugh Freeze to date has really not been able to do that so far.
And in year 3 at a school like that with those expectations, almost and being competitive doesn't cut it anymore. You got to win these games.
No, that's exactly right. No. So, all right, let's move on to our next game here. Speaking of, quarterback play, this guy has been playing absolutely out of his mind. Trinidad Chambliss for Ole Miss has been incredible. So through 2 weeks, the 2 starts that he's had, 330 yards per game passing, 68. He's had 3 starts, excuse me, because he started against Arkansas, Tulane, right, and then the Cupcake, I believe, right? So, but in the last 2 weeks, 330 yards passing for a 68% completion rate, 11.8 yards per pass, 1.5 TDs, and that is to go along with his rushing stats, which are averaging 14.5 carries for 87 yards, 6.1 yards per carry, and 1 TD. Those are Heisman type numbers, and he was the backup to start this year. Ole Miss went into this game. People were talking about Tulane as a potential, trendy upset pick because Tulane is a solid team. John Summerall, a great coach, and Cruz Oxenrider, our friend who came on last week, he went all out. He said, "I'm picking Tulane for the upset," and then he laughed and he said, "Watch this be the biggest upset of the day."
Yeah,
it was one of the biggest upsets of the day. Unfortunately for him, but overall, just another extremely impressive win for Ole Miss. And going into this year, I said that I thought this Ole Miss team might be a little bit less talented than the team last year, and that may still be the case. But this team looks like they're better than the team last year. Maybe they're more cohesive. I don't know what it is, but this team looks like a real threat in the SEC.
Yeah, they were one of my 4 picks preseason to make the playoff from the SEC. That schedule looked all right. One thing that is impressing me with Chambliss is typically if you see a new guy come in, they have that security blanket, the guy that gets way more targets, you're dumping it to him. He's not doing that. They had 7 guys that had a catch last weekend against Tulane. Nobody had more than 4. That tells me he's spreading the ball around a lot, which usually means you're looking through your progressions and taking what the defense gives you. Good for a QB that hasn't been playing at this level for too long.
Yeah, certainly. And we'll see. It looks like he's going to get the start. On3 reported that he was going to get the start. But then about 45 minutes later, Lane Kiffin was on with Pat McAfee on ESPN and said that was news to him and that they hadn't named a starter yet. We'll see. To be determined. But my 2 cents, I cannot imagine they're not going to start him this week. I mean, Austin Simmons, we know he's a super talented kid. I think he potentially still has a future at Ole Miss, but based on what we've seen from Austin Simmons so far, and now looking at what we have, with a small sample size with Trinidad Chambliss in 2 big games, who's played very well going into a massive game this weekend against LSU, I feel like you got to ride the hot hand.
I'm very conflicted on it. I don't know that I have the answer. There's the old adage, you don't lose your job just by being injured. Simmons didn't do anything to play himself out of the job.
No.
It's tough to take it away from him. But also, if he goes in and plays bad, everybody's going to be wagging the finger at Lane saying, why did you do that? He was playing well. Now, no one cares what people think less than Lane, but it's still something to think about.
It is. It'll be interesting to see. All right. I want to talk to you a little bit about this game because I'm interested to hear your thoughts as our resident Gamecock here on the After Dark Network. Missouri gets a win. They don't cover, but they get a win, 29-20 over South Carolina. Lenora Sellers got a little bit of his swagger back, looked good.
It's the best game the Gamecocks have played all year, even though they lost.
Great. Yeah. I mean, didn't play good enough to win, but overall they played much better than we've seen them play for much of the year. Ventrevious Jacobs, 7 catches, 128 yards, 18.3 yards per catch, had a touchdown. Sellers protected the ball, 2 touchdowns, 302 yards passing. So, I mean, good game for the Gamecocks, but they still come up short. And I think that's really because Missouri is just a dadgum good team. Bo Prabula plays a good game again. Ahmad Hardy, an absolute stud of a running back. He's leading the SEC in rushing by over 200 yards right now. So what's your take on this game? What do you take away from it, for both teams?
The result didn't shock me. Even going back to the summer, when you circle the games and, on several shows I talked about, this was the game that worried me the most about setting the table for the season. The Gamecocks have only won once at Mizzou in over a decade. It's not a place they've played well at. And this Mizzou team, and has been a staple under Drinkwitz, they find ways to beat you in multiple ways. They're not they're going to run the ball. They're going to throw it. They're basically going to target where you're bad at, and that's how they're going to gut you. They did that against the Gamecocks. They've realized without Sellers, the Gamecocks cannot run the ball. They stopped that, and they had negative rushing yards for the game. It was an atrocious running performance. And this Missouri team, I think whatever Drink is doing, I didn't give him enough credit for this fact that I'm about to say. Up until this year, they know exactly who they are and what their identity is. I think they're very comfortable with, this is how we do things. This is what, how we're going to prepare for every game. And everybody knows their role and what they're doing. They're very stable, it seems like, at this point. And you got to give them credit for that.
It's impressive, especially with everything that they lost. I mean, you lose Theo Weiss, you lose Luther Burden, you lose Brady Cook, who for 2 years was, gritty and won you 20 games over 2 years. And then you come in this year, you're 4-0 again. You brought a kid out of the portal. By the way, just an aside here, Bo Prabula has to be just ecstatic that he made the decision to leave Penn State because, again, Drew Aller is not looking very hot at Penn State. I mean, Penn State is 3-0. They've got a huge game coming up this weekend, but yet again,
I think that's more the system than him, though. If you reverse the roles, I think we'd be saying James Franklin is where all coordinators go to die. He's had lots of top ones that have just failed there because I think they're so risk averse to not let the QBs do things.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Versus the opposite, where Drink will let you take shots.
Yeah, and one guy you didn't mention, they lost Armand Membu, the left tackle, who was the 7th pick in the draft. Stud lineman too, and they've done well up front. You don't run for that many yards in 4 games without having a good O-line behind you.
No, what Drink has done in Columbia is certainly impressive. And we've said it multiple times on this show. We said in the preseason, I said it going into this year. I think I picked Mizzou to go 9-3 because at this point, I'm just like, I got to trust Drink. He just keeps showing me over and over again that even if you're replacing all this, it doesn't matter. He's just going to plug it in and we're going to go and we're going to beat you.
We're in an interesting scenario now where the 11th game of the year, Missouri against Oklahoma, pending Oklahoma can handle the Mateer injury, that game could be for a playoff spot, potentially, because both these teams are going to be at 9 or 10 wins probably.
I think you're right. And that's what I'm impressed with. I do think Missouri has a real shot at a playoff spot. Bo Pribula, to this point, is playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, which means you're playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And so if they have good quarterback play and they can continue to, just do what they're doing, Ahmad Hardy continues to run like he is, the offensive line continues to handle people, they got a shot.
Hardy's this year's Dylan Sampson, I think, where you're just a step above every other running back in the conference.
Yeah.
So far, anyway.
That's what it seems like. Let's talk a little bit here about a team that is not playing as hot as the Missouri Tigers.
Is it the Florida Gators?
That would be the Florida Gators. Yes. My gosh, it has been absolutely rough in Gainesville. Most people, they were kind of a trendy pick to go 8-4, maybe push for a playoff spot in the preseason. And it seems like the wheels have come off the wagon. It's just, it's terrible, frankly, in Florida right now. DJ Lagway had 61 total yards passing. The offense had 141 yards total in this game. The defense, yet again, kept Florida in the game. This game was it was 13-7 early in the fourth, or 13-7 early in the fourth quarter. Florida got the ball twice. They had the ball on offense twice with the chance to go down and take the lead and could do nothing either time. They turned it over on downs once, and then I think they went 3 and out on the next drive. And then after that, they completely ran out of steam. So what we talk about this every week now. I'm a little surprised Billy Napier still has his job. It seems like the fan base has completely given up on him, completely given up on this season, as well as the Florida media. I've watched multiple Florida media folks, and they all can't understand why Napier still has his job. So what are your takeaways from this game? Why does Napier still have his job, and where does Florida go from here?
It's an odd time of the year to fire someone. Like, we've seen 3 power conference coaches get fired. That's rare for this time of the season, though. Typically, you're going to wait a little longer. I think that's probably why. And where it's went wrong is a lot of ways. They did not convert a third down was the first massive reason. And also, it's not only, you look at teams that are bad on third downs, it's usually because you're bad on first down and you're putting selves in third and long. That's what they were doing. They weren't making it manageable for themselves. Like you said, their defense played pretty well. It was apparent, though, that second half of the fourth quarter, the fatigue was real. Miami was just mauling them down with the O-line and picking up 4 or 5 yards a pop and just killing the clock. And you knew once that started, it was going to be all over for the Gators. But my best guess for as to why Napier still is working, they finished last year all right, but I think it's just the time of the year and they didn't want to do it this early. I wonder if in the back of some people's minds it was we want to do it after so many games so that we don't have a bunch of guys quit in redshirt. If you've not played in 4 games, which would happen. Realistically, it's just how it would go. And I don't know if maybe the thought is if we bring in an interim, we're just punting the rest of the season, going to be terrible. Well, I think you're risking that anyway, looking at the schedule they have. But my guess is that's why he's still around. And that will be a very coveted job if and when. I tend to think at this point it's a when, not an if, in the next 4 months, about a firing, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm interested to see as well. I mean, you also have to think too, got to find the Gator schedule here, but
oh boy.
I mean, right, like we talked about this in the preseason. We all knew it was like, okay, we know this is going to be a gauntlet, but this team looks better. They look better on paper. You got DJ Lagway coming back. I said it multiple times. DJ Lagway's the truth. Well, the truth is he's been pretty bad this year. I don't I don't know if I put that on DJ Lagway or if I put it on Billy Napier. I think DJ Lagway is still a supremely talented quarterback, but for whatever reason, it is not working in this Napier offense. But yeah, I mean, this schedule is just brutal. You get this bye after Miami finally, to lick your wounds after 3 straight losses, including that awful one at home to USF, and then you get Texas, and then you get A&M on the road, and then you get Mississippi State, who looks much better. I mean, that's not a gimme game anymore. Georgia, I mean, Kentucky's had you, right? Not that Kentucky's great this year, but you never know. You have to go to Lexington. Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State, much better. I mean, where in the world are the wins on this schedule where Billy Napier, pulls a rabbit out of a hat again? I just don't see it.
So I saw an interesting projection yesterday about Florida. The percentage that they lose the rest of their games and go 1-11 is only slightly smaller than the probability of them getting to 7 wins this year. There's a 5.5% chance they get to 7 wins. There's a 3.5% chance they end with 1 win. I mean, that's
tough times.
I wasn't as high on them in the offseason as some people. I didn't think they would be this bad though. Like they just don't look competitive. I don't know.
They don't. It's unfortunate, but all right, let's go to another team who is playing pretty well, but they keep shooting themselves in the foot, and that's the Arkansas Razorbacks. I mean, they had Memphis. They were up 28-10, and then their defense falls apart in the second half, and their offense completely sputters. They scored, I think, 3 points in the second half. And you drive down, you're going to win the game. You're inside the red zone. You're just going to have to kick a field goal, run a little bit of clock, and instead they fumble the ball. I think it was inside the 20 or inside the 15, and Memphis takes over. And then you still have a shot at the end.
You do,
where you can stop Memphis, get a 3 and out, and then try to drive back down, with like a minute and a half left or a minute 20 left, and they can't do it. Memphis brings in the backup quarterback who runs it on 3rd and 8 and carries a defensive lineman for like 8 yards across, and they can't get the stop when they need to, and just yet again shoot themselves in the foot. It's just a recurring theme of the Pittman era. I heard through the grapevine, which was Brandon Marcello was reporting that Bobby Petrino is making a couple of phone calls that, hey, if this happens, like I should be the interim coach. Surprise, surprise that happens.
I mean, he's the logical choice though too.
He is. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he needs to lobby, but that's just Bobby Petrino. But yeah, what were your takeaways from this one? Memphis isn't a bad team either. They could potentially challenge as a G6.
No, they're one of the best G6 teams, but Arkansas shouldn't have blown the game the way they did.
No.
You when you're up that much, you should be able to rely on the ground game, play good enough D, and manage it to see it out. But the turnovers are what got them. I mean, you had the 3 turnovers, and they lost their rhythm. It's like they couldn't string together 2 good plays in a row after halftime. I don't know why. I don't know if they lost their focus, if they thought they had it in the bag or what, but it was a tale of 2 halves for them. And Memphis is good enough where you can't do that. And I think this is another one where Sam Pittman's probably on his last days. If I was betting between Pittman and Napier, I would probably guess that Pittman gets fired first, but maybe I'm wrong about that one.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's flip a coin. You know what I mean? Flip a coin at this point. Here's Arkansas's remaining schedule here. You got Notre Dame coming up. That's Notre Dame comes to Fayetteville this week, which will be very interesting. I'm excited about that one. We'll talk about that one with Gabe and Easton Bock here in just a minute. And then you get Tennessee, you get A&M, Auburn. I mean, it's just the SEC gauntlet, and you have Notre Dame in between there. So it's going to be fascinating to see, what the rest of the season looks like for Arkansas. But you got to think too, some of these games are still winnable. Again, Arkansas has not played bad in some of these games. They just keep shooting themselves in the foot. And Ole Miss, you have a chance to win late in the game and you fumble it. Memphis, you blow a 28-10 lead and then you fumble it at the end of the game and lose that one. So it's not like they can't play with a Tennessee or an A&M or Auburn or any of these teams, but they just have to find ways to win and figure it out. And so far, they just haven't been able to do that.
Yeah, they might just be an average at best football team. I don't know that they dominated their first couple games against it was Alabama A&M or Alabama State, one of the FCS teams, and then Arkansas State. Compared with decent teams, though, they're just not that good, I don't think. Like, I don't know that they're capable of having a winning record in the conference. For me, they're just a ho-hum SEC team.
I think that's right. Yeah, mid to bottom tier in the SEC.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty safe to say at this point. All right, let's talk a little bit about just some final thoughts on Week 4. We saw some blowouts, some cupcake teams. We had Arch Manning staring down the mighty Sam Houston Bearcats or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
and
Bearcats, yes.
Diego Pavia continues to impress. They get 70 points and a bunch of revenge on Georgia State. And then LSU looks great against SCLU, against Southeast Louisiana. They didn't look too great in the first half, to be honest with you. At least the first quarter, the offense again kind of sputtering, but they finally figured it out in the second half, got it done. Mississippi State 4-0. So any final thoughts here on just some of these other games that were going on throughout the conference?
Mississippi State looked good. NIU will be a top 5 team in the MAC. They're a solid squad. Mississippi State we expected them to be improved this year. They're more improved than I thought they would be. They look ahead of schedule based on and with Jeff Lebby, last year was a true year zero. That in the wake of, the Zach Arnett 1 year was a debacle. Blake Shapen is playing very well right now. Booth and Bothwell are both running the ball. And both sides of the trenches, they're very improved from last year.
Yeah, I'm not overlooking Mississippi State anymore. I'll tell you that much.
No.
I picked them 3-9 in the preseason, and they've already hit their over, and they've already beaten my win total for them this year. So, and like Blake Shapen being in this offense now for I think 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Being injured last year, 4 games or whatever it was in, but I think that time in the offense has and some time, not playing as well, and just being the guy in the offense and in the headset with Jeff Lebby and in the film room, and then going into this year, he looks confident. He looks like he knows what's going on in this offense, and Mississippi State's brimming with confidence, and they've got a big game coming up this weekend, and I'm wondering, if they can pull it out again. It's in Starkville. They play Tennessee. Who knows? I'm not overlooking that one for sure.
Yeah, I am. So. Spoiler for later. In that game, I don't know that they win. I am on them at that point margin, though I do think they cover because they're scoring points. And Tennessee's going to have to score a lot to cover. It's over 10 points, whatever you pick that game at.
Certainly could be another shootout in Starkville. Yeah. So,
and Tennessee's throwing the ball well. That's about all they're doing well, though. They've regressed from that, which we expected they would regress. They ran the ball, and their front seven was great on D. They're not as good of a team as they were last year.
That's true. And Joey Aguilar, though, at this point, looks like an upgrade. I think we can just say it now. Upgrade over Nico at quarterback. He's played very well and seems like he's grasped Heupel's offense in 3 months better than Nico did in a couple of years. So impressive to see what he's been able to do with Tennessee so far. So. All right, that is everybody. That's Mike Huesmann. So thanks, Mike, for filling in for Hammer. Really appreciate it. Yeah. And if you haven't checked him out, he does Offseason After Dark on the After Dark Network. Does a great job. Does a weekly show. Goes all across FBS and Division I, whether it's G6 talking ACC. He goes all over and talks to experts for every team and has a weekly show that comes out. So well worth a listen. Check it out on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, on his X feed as well. So be sure to check him out. So Mike, thank you very much. And we'll see you tomorrow night for SEC After Dark.
Appreciate it, Bossman, everybody. Thanks for listening. See you later.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to get in here to our guest picker. Excited to have him on. I've listened to him for a long time here. So give me just 1 second as I get this loaded in here. There they are. That is Gabe Bock and his son, Easton Bock. Gentlemen, what's going on? It's good to see you guys tonight.
How's it going, boss man? You doing all right?
I'm doing great, man. Hey, we got a big game this weekend. We got a ton of big games that we can talk about this weekend. This Saturday is jam-packed. It's loaded. This is it's one where you just sit on the couch, you know, from game day all the way until like midnight, just watching football.
Man, I can't wait to be at Kyle Field, but I was looking at that schedule and like, golly, if A&M were – I do love when A&M plays early, wins, and then you can just watch everything else. Like that 11 o'clock sometimes is really fun in some ways. Sometimes you just worry about us starting because we don't get home until 1:30 after midnight yell. But when you start good, you win, and then you get all day. But when I'm looking at this, it's 2:30, middle of the day. We're going to be there and fired up. But I can't wait to get back for those 6:30 games too. You know, guest pick. I told Easton he's going to be a guest picker. We just need a Corso head at the end. You know,
darn right.
We got last, but we need a Corso head in honor of the late LC.
I mean, poor Reveille here, but maybe you could have done an eye patch for Reveille. Maybe that's well. Hey, it's good to have you guys on. If you guys don't follow Gabe Bock right there at Gabe Bock, he is the former longtime host of TexAgs Radio and now does a podcast with Billy Lucci over there called Luch and Bock TexAgs. Fantastic name, by the way. Great on that. And also does he's a realtor now with Bock Realty Group. So with his wife. Yeah. So how's that going, by the way?
Oh, it's going great when you're playing travel baseball, and it's more expensive than you think. So nice. We got to sell some houses, man. Tell all your friends.
Hey, I hear that. Well, if you guys are in the College Station area, Bryan College Station area, check out Bock Realty Group right there at Bock Realty Group. They do a great job. And hey, this has grown very quickly, if I'm correct. 13 people working for you. It seems like you guys are doing very, very well.
Yeah, it's been great, man. I mean, it's good Lord's taking care of us. There's no two ways about it. I mean, we just try really hard, and we've been able to really grow our agent base, and we've been really blessed to be the number one in sales volume the last 2 years in our market and two-time Aggie 100. So it's been great. But awesome. I think this kid would rather be a broadcaster or a pro sports general manager than a real estate agent.
Yeah. Hey, I get that, man. Not a problem with that. So tell me what's going on with you, Easton. It's good to have you on tonight, man. How's travel baseball going? And tell us what else is going on.
Travel baseball's going good. We had a tournament last weekend. We played some of my friends that are on a different team. A couple of them left for that team. We beat them 13-5. So that's good.
He took a 70-mile-an-hour pitch right off the spine while he was hitting, and then it was in the middle of his pitching. So he had to go back on the mound after that and grind out and close out that win. So it was a pretty cool moment to see him battle through some adversity there and come out on top. So
hey, man, got the grit. That's an Aggie if I've ever heard one.
That's right.
I love that.
Right, buddy. Yeah, good man.
I used to play a little bit of travel ball myself, and back in the day, I was very serious about it. I still had these trophies until about 5 years ago. But I was we played travel t-ball when I was like 6 years old. Up to Rockwall. We were the Yellow Jackets.
Oh, there you go. I'm from Denison, so I'm all about that.
There you go.
Man, now that's when you know you might have a problem when you're playing tournament t-ball.
We did have a problem, and I blame my dad. But truthfully, I loved it, so I can't even blame him too much about it. So,
well, everything that goes wrong, he blames me anyway, so it makes sense.
That's just how it goes with father-son. That's right. All right, guys. Well, let's get into some football here. Before we do, check this out. This is the picker standings for all the pickers we've had so far. Rivers Huey. She's been so far the queen of this thing. 4-2 record. She did a great job. Cruz Oxenrider was on with us last week. He's our Alabama meme king. He does a great job over on X. He was 3-3, and then Daily Joy, LSU grad and the founder of SEC Pretty, great hat company. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out.
Very cool.
She went 2-4, and then you guys. We'll see what you guys get this week, but it's going to be fun. So. Before we get into picks, though, I do want to hear from both of you just a little bit about, hey, I know I'm an Aggie too, but I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on the pulse of the A&M fan base and just the A&M season so far, and then we'll move into our picks.
Oh, I tell you, you couldn't be more fired up, right, Easton? I mean, what especially what you do going on the road and taking care of Notre Dame, which I think kind of buys you another win All right, it buys you a loss, right? In terms of the playoff picture, trying to get in that tournament. I mean, it's kind of, we talk about it a lot with A&M basketball. Just get in the stinking tournament. Anything can happen. Well, we've never been in the tournament. We've missed it a couple times by a whisker in 2020, but that Notre Dame game showed a lot to me. What did you think?
I mean, we have Mario Craver out there just balling out.
Yeah.
And then Casey Concepcion, if you can just give him the ball, because their best corner is going to be guarding Mario, just because that's what he's done. Casey, he's going to be insane against Auburn. The Notre Dame game, though, it was very nice to see Le'Veon Moss get 3 touchdowns after coming off the torn ACL.
Certainly.
I like the Marcel Reed passing. I don't really care that he had a 40% completion. He was very clutch at the end. I mean, I think we have a great shot at making the playoffs. I mean, we're ranked above Texas. That's all I care about right now.
The thing is, you just got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, the win just buys you a little more pressure, a little more expectations, and the opportunity to just keep winning. That's what Notre Dame did. It's the opportunity to here's the next one. Like, it's a meat grinder, right? And there's the next one. Like you said earlier before we came on, State's better than we thought. And, Florida, they're not good. They're going to fire him probably before this game. If not, if they don't fire him before, hopefully right after it in terms of the way we play. But their defense is so good. I could see that going in the fourth quarter. It's a 13-10 game, and you're like, oh, shoot, here we go, right? So it is an absolute meat grinder in this league, but winning that Notre Dame game gives you so much momentum. You get 2 weeks to rest. Le'Veon Moss off 20 carries coming off that knee injury is a big deal. That shows you, A, he can handle it, but B, it's great to get 2 weeks off after that. And Marcel's been a little bit banged up. And we'll see if Scooby can play. All right, he's been a little bit banged up, right? He got banged up in that game. So you're going to need him in a game like this where you'll be dialing up some stuff, and he's one of your best blitzers. And sideline to sideline guy, you're going to need help on some of these guys like Singleton when you just get it out to him and let him go. He's kind of like Anais. He's a short little guy that he's got a ton of shake. And he kind of scares me because I think we're going to be so predicated on slowing down number 8, who's probably going to be a multi-year Pro Bowler, Yeah. A big deal.
Yeah, former Texas A&M commit, Cam Cole.
Yes.
Isn't everyone?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
We were talking about Isaiah Satania. I'm like, former A&M commit. Hey, how about Mississippi State? They got this guy, Brendan Thompson, former A&M commit.
Yeah.
All comes down to A&M finished second for a whole bunch of good dudes, but they finished first for a bunch of good dudes too. And swipe Marcel Reed from Ole Miss at the last minute, and you go look up that 5-star list of quarterbacks in that draft, in that signing class, and Dante Moore's been really good, but most of them haven't. Most of them haven't lived up. And Marcel Reed looks like every bit as good as anybody in that class.
That's the truth. I'm excited about this as well. I've been really fascinated by everybody coming into this year thought that it was going to be all about the run game, right? This is a stable. You got 4 deep in the running back room, maybe even 5 if you want to talk about the Missouri transfer. But it's been, for the most part, the Aggies winning with the passing game. And using Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion and Marcel Reed before the year. Is he going to take that step? Well, through, the first 4 weeks, seems like he's taken that step. But like you said, you got to keep winning. So let's roll right into it. Let's talk a little bit about this weekend's game. Big game against Auburn. Auburn coming to Kyle Field. This one, I listened to Luchenbach today.
There you go.
You guys were talking about it. This rivalry has been wacky, I think, is that, to use for lack of a better term, the road team won it for a long time, whether it was A&M or whether it was Auburn. They traded blows depending on who it was. And it's been an interesting one, to say the least. Auburn looks pretty good, even though they've lost a couple games, and they lost to Oklahoma last week. A&M obviously looks very good. I'm a little worried about my battered Aggie syndrome flaring up. I'm not going to lie, just because I've seen people on Twitter say, unrank us, cowards.
I've seen us lose a ton of games like this Saturday. I really have. But I've also
give me your thoughts on this. Easton, we'll start with you. What are you thinking about in this game?
I think that, Auburn gave up 9 or 10 sacks against Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Our run defense isn't that good, but I do think Cassius Howell is going to have a 2-sack, multi-sack game. I think we can actually do really good against that run defense, even though it hasn't been that strong. We thought it wasn't strong until we realized UTSA's Robert Henry, it leads the league in leads the country in rushing yards with 680. It's crazy.
I think Auburn's the third best rushing attack A&M's faced this year. Only ahead of Utah State. Obviously, Notre Dame's got, you put them up with every single team in the entire country. And Robert Henry leads the nation in rushing, and that's their identity. That's what they're going to do. And they're just going to get out, take care of the football with McCown. He looks like a guy that's going to play 8 years as a backup in the NFL, just like his dad and his uncle, right? I mean, that's kind of what he looks like. And he's going to take care of it. He's going to manage it, and they're going to get it to that back. And at the first, we're like, what in the heck's going on at opener? And then you look up, and he's doing this on everybody. He's really good. And they leaned on us a little bit, but then you shut it down right after that long touchdown run. You know, to A&M's credit, completely shut it down. It's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 4 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3. So completely shut that thing down. Auburn, this Auburn team, and you heard it on Luchenbach, we talked about it. This is a different team. When Auburn's going great, even when they're not, they can at least hang their hat on a back that they're going to hand it to 25 times. They handed it to their best back against Oklahoma 6 times. They're not hanging their hat on this cat. It's a little bit different than the Auburn teams of the past. Now, Jackson can buy some time, and he can do some stuff. I mean, he can run like a Trevor Knight type. And so you worry about that a little bit. I think it's a real good litmus test, Easton, for A&M's run defense to go out there and keep your head above water and force some 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 7, and let Cassius and the boys go to work. I'm fired up about it.
I am too. So, Easton, let me hear you. What's your pick on this one against the spread? Do the Aggies cover 7.5, or does Auburn cover, and does Auburn win? What do you think?
I think A&M covers the spread.
Okay.
I think that will beat them by
more than 7.5?
Yeah, by 10 or more, 100%.
Okay. I like it. Gabe, what are you thinking?
All right. I mean, the number one thing I want to see in this game is who controls the line of scrimmage, right? And I put it here. Is A&M able to set up 3rd and longs? You know, OU was able to do that, and we're getting to Jackson Arnold. B, when A&M's got the ball, can Reed and Moss run the ball effectively against a really good run defense? They are very good run defense. By the numbers, they're first, averaging, allowing just 58 rushing yards per game. Now I go back to, you can't run it. They shut down Bryson Washington, but that's all Baylor has in the run game. I like Moss every bit as much as Washington, if not more. And A&M's got a stable, and they've got a running quarterback. You know, Baylor's identity isn't necessarily give it to, you know, that he has to do it because Sawyer Robertson can pass you to victory. He can throw you to a win. Mm-hmm. Whereas, you know, A&M's got, it's a huge part of our identity. I think we're a better running team than Baylor. And yeah, they did have some success there, but I don't think they've quite been tested with a full stable like A&M's going to do. And the other things too is you got to give Reed time. He's only been sacked twice. He's nimble in the pocket. Obviously, he can get out and burn you with his legs, but he can also buy some time. He's, you know, some of these quarterbacks, young quarterbacks like Shadur, right? Mm-hmm. When he bells backwards, and a 10-yard throw in the air is a 30-yard throw just to get it 10 yards. Because he's running backwards to avoid a sack. Well, Marcel's not doing that. He's stepping up and being nimble in the pocket, and he's keeping his eyes downfield. And when he does, he's got some serious playmakers. My confidence meter that A&M is going to win this game by at least 7.5 is about a 7.5, frankly. Exactly the number. And I'm an Aggie fan, so what the heck? I think we're going to win this game by 10 plus.
There you go. I like it.
It may be close going in the fourth, right? I mean, a 10-point win is a 3-point game going in the fourth quarter, and you score a touchdown late and make it 10.
That's right. I plan on sweating this one out until about 3 to 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then hopefully we pull away.
Yeah.
We'll see. It'll be interesting to see. So, all right, let's move into our next one here. And just for folks who are new here, I make my picks on SEC After Dark tomorrow night. So we always just do the guest pickers. They make their picks tonight, and then we'll make our picks against the spread tomorrow night on SEC After Dark. And y'all can catch that at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. So be sure to tune in to that tomorrow night. But a team that the Aggies, 2 teams the Aggies get to play this year, Arkansas and Notre Dame, already vanquished Notre Dame, get Arkansas a little bit later in the year. The Hogs have played well. We talked about this earlier in the show with Mike Huesmann. Hogs have played well so far, but they keep shooting themselves in the foot. Notre Dame today, I think Notre Dame's a very good team. We saw that in South Bend, but we're lucky enough to get the win there. But Notre Dame, I think, is much better than their number 22 ranking. So talk to me a little bit about what you guys are seeing in this game. Easton, we'll start with you. Tell us what you're thinking about in this game and tell us what your pick is.
I mean, Arkansas hasn't been playing as well as we thought they would coming into the season. And, well, neither is Notre Dame. But I think that Notre Dame will cover the spread, and because they can run the ball like crazy. And that's all you need to do to win by more than 7.5.
It's 3.5, isn't it?
Well, so we're picking the spreads that came out at the start.
Oh, initially,
yeah. So I'm doing that to line it up because we pick with the spreads that came out initially at 7.5. It is now at 3.5. So a lot of money has been put on the Hogs.
Which is fascinating.
It is.
So you're thinking Notre Dame still covers that?
I think Notre Dame covered it.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Easton here. I do think Notre Dame is obviously much better than 1 and 2. This A&M win, A&M's gotten a lot of cachet off that win, right? Which is great. And I think it's only going to get better because I don't see Notre Dame losing again. That game against Mayava and USC is a little tricky. I don't think Pitt's as good as some people like Reese Davis thought they'd be. He picked them as a playoff team. You know, you go lose in the brawl. But which can happen in a rivalry. I get it. But the Nard dog, I don't think's quite got it this year. And to go into South Bend, I think that game's in Notre Dame, if I'm not mistaken. But I know USC is.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, that game. Yes.
10,
right.
10-2, I think, is what Notre Dame finishes at. And then the committee's going to have a decision to make because all hell's going to break loose in the last 2 weeks. Yep. And so that is going to make A&M's win look so much nicer. The pit man is definitely on his way out. Petrino's working the back channels. What did I say on the Luchenbach? The minute Petrino opens up as interim head coach against the Aggies in his first game, Vietnam, that's going to be free neck brace night. There is no question. Free admission for anyone wearing a neck brace. And only in this sport, Easton didn't even know that, only in this sport, the guy who was your head coach who got fired for dating his own staffer while married and wrecking his motorcycle and wearing a neck brace to the press conference in shambles his entire career. Not too much long after. Remember, it feels like a snap of a finger when that happened.
Yeah.
It was in the SEC, right? Snap of a finger when that happened. And all of a sudden, that dude is your OC again in the same location and is this close to getting an opportunity to be the head coach at Arkansas again, which is wild. But I don't see Arkansas. It might be a little tight because this is last gasp effort for Sam, who's I feel like been on last gasp for a long time, kind of life support there. But I think Notre Dame wins that. Give me the Irish.
Yeah, I won't make my pick yet, but I like where your guys' head's at, especially after watching Memphis last week in the second half against that Arkansas defense. They ran all over them. So
that's right.
It'll be interesting to watch there in Fayetteville this weekend. So, all right, let's get into our next one here. Next one we got up, and we'll save the best three for last because, again, we talked about earlier, God, this Saturday is loaded. This is going to be a fun one, too. Kind of a little bit of the undercard here, but still going to be a fun game. Mississippi State looking much better. Tennessee, top 15. I think Tennessee might be potentially even better than their top 15 ranking. Joey Aguilar has been electric so far. He's played much better in this offense than we saw from Nico Iamaleava a year ago. And with Nico, that Tennessee team was 10-2 and made the playoff. So what are you guys looking at in this game? Are you thinking Mississippi State can pull it off again like they did against Arizona State? Or where's your head at? Easton, start us off.
Well, I think Mississippi State, I think that Tennessee doesn't cover the spread. I think they won't lose by over 10 points. Okay. Mississippi State, I think they have a chance to beat Tennessee, but after seeing how good they play against Georgia, their defense wasn't that good, but they were electric on offense. They started off 21-7 against Georgia. So if they have the capability to beat Georgia, I think that they'll beat Mississippi State, but I don't think that they'll cover the spread.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. That trade worked out better for Tennessee, way better for Tennessee than UCLA, obviously. People forget that A&M made a trade, Kyler Murray for Trevor Knight and Christian Daimler. And, on the front end, it worked out pretty good for A&M because Kyler didn't play for 2 years. He sat out, and then he watched Baker win a Heisman, but then he wins the Heisman. Yeah, that was one of the 3 pillars of the downfall of Kevin Sumlin, was letting that cat walk right out the door as a freshman. There's no two ways about it. That was the beginning of the end, and then 16 happened with all the blowouts, and then Knight gets hurt, and then 17 happened in L.A., and at that point it was absolutely game over. Mm-hmm. But the lack of true leadership as a man at the head coach of that, we can rant on that for days.
Yeah, we'll do a whole other show on that with you in the offseason.
The point is, though, this was a great trade for Heupel, who's proven with Joe Milton and ended Hooker. The list goes on. This dude can absolutely develop a quarterback now. There's no doubt. But I think Levy, and you said it earlier before we came on, shocked that they're good. I think they're pretty good. They're at least dangerous. And I saw Michael Van Buren thinking he was their future, and he volunteers to go be Nussmeier's backup at LSU. I'm like, they're going to stink again. And their best player has to be Craver. I'm thinking in my head, because look how awesome this guy is. And they're sitting there 4-0. And they're hanging their hat on the pass game without Van Buren and without Craver, which is fascinating. Levy, remember he was the OC under Kiffin, upstate, So I think it's going to be closer. I got a sneaky feeling this thing's going to be close, really close. Cowbell country going nuts, but Tennessee wins. But I'm going to take the points all day at 10.5. Shoot, I think it's been bet down to 7.5.
I think it has. Yeah. Some of these games have been getting bet down for sure. So, and the fact that it is in Fayetteville, what we saw again, I mean, it's always tough. We know that as Aggies, right? We've gone in there and lost to Nick Fitzgerald, and they've been a thorn in our side for years.
They really have. It's a hard place to play, man. It's artificial, but Stark Vegas is no joke.
No, it's definitely not. Okay, I like those picks. I think that's good. It's going to be a tough environment in Fayetteville for sure.
I think he and I are the same right now.
Yeah, you guys 3-3. You both got the Aggies, both got the Irish, and both got the Bulldogs. So
that's right.
All right, let's see where you guys differ here, because now it gets real. We got 3 big games here to talk about. We got one to start us off: Ole Miss and LSU. LSU travels to Ole Miss. This line has stayed pretty steady since it's open at 1.5. And it's pretty interesting to see. I know that Ole Miss is the home team here, but a top 5 team typically is the one that gets the line and is the one that's favored. Not favored in this game, and I think that's probably because of what we've seen from LSU over the past couple of weeks. Their offense has been pretty anemic. Brian Kelly's in that press conference yelling about it a couple of weeks ago, even though they get the win. So I'm really interested to see how this one turns out. Ole Miss looks really good right now, especially with Trinidad Chambliss at quarterback. If he starts, which it's up in the air if he does, On3 reported that he was going to start, but then Kiffin was on Pat McAfee's show just a little bit later, about 45 minutes to an hour later, and said, well, we haven't made that decision yet, so that's news to me. We're still holding off. So I think he's playing a little bit of mind games, just telling LSU, hey, you gotta figure out both.
Of course.
Or Trinidad Chambliss. So what are you guys looking at in this game? It's going to be a fascinating one there at Ole Miss.
I think Ole Miss covers the spread. I think Ole Miss does beat LSU by a touchdown or more. LSU hasn't looked promising because they had that one win against Clemson. Everyone thought, man, this team's really good, until we saw Clemson. They lost to LSU, Syracuse, and Georgia Tech.
Should have lost to Troy. They were down big.
Yeah, and they were down, like you said, down a lot against Troy. So that win is starting to not look very good. I don't think that they should be top 5. Ole Miss has looked very promising. I think they will stay at home, beat LSU by more than a touchdown, and I think they'll go top 10. I do think that they will cover the spread on this one.
Look, I agree. I think Ole Miss is the more complete team. Look what they did with Jake Retzlaff, who came from BYU to Tulane, and you can make a case Tulane and South Florida are the best 2 group of 5 teams fighting for that 12th spot in the college football playoff going into Oxford, and they wasted that team. And they did it on defense, too. It was the Trinidad Chambliss show. I get it. He was unbelievable, the kid from Ferris State. the Fighting Buellers, and you transfer up to Oxford, and all of a sudden it's like this guy waiting for his turn. I never even heard of him. And all of a sudden Austin Simmons was banged up, and this guy's coming out. I'm like, I have no earthly idea who this kid is. Never heard about him. Look, I'm just a fan and a real estate agent. Like, I'm not following this like we were before. I had literally never heard of this kid. He's just balling. And I know it's a Trinidad Chambliss show, but they also held Retzlaff to like 53, 54, 58 yards passing. Completely shut him down. He was 0 for 9 to start the game. By the time he completed a pass, the ball game was over. Completely, totally over. Meanwhile, LSU cannot run the ball. They can't block for Nussmeier. He still holds the ball too long. He's still an NFL coach's son who's going to probably be a backup in the NFL. This is not a throw you to win type of – I don't think he's fantastic. I think he's way overhyped. All right? I really do. Everybody's been waiting for him. He's an old guy. We've been waiting for Nussmeier for a long time. And I just think they've got some serious issues on the offense side of the ball. Their defense is awesome. If anybody's going to shut down Ole Miss and all those bombs they're hitting right now, they lead the SEC in big plays, passing plays. It's going to be LSU. So it could be a little tighter, but the spread's tight. The grow's going to be going crazy, totally crazy. And I think Ole Miss wins this game, and I definitely think they cover the spread.
Okay. Basically on a pick 'em here. Both you guys going with the Rebs. Same picks all the way through so far.
I know it.
I'm really fascinated to watch this one. Gabe, you mentioned it. The LSU defense finally looks like the LSU defenses of old. Blake Baker, that defensive coordinator, he's in year 2. He's finally getting this thing going. He got a bunch of good guys out of the transfer portal. Tulane looks incredible. I mean, this defense is definitely salty.
The Weeks brothers look great. They're figuring out how to use – he's finally figuring out how to use Perkins. Also, former A&M commit. Stick with the thing. Yeah. Like, why'd you have to bring him up?
Thank you, Tyler Santucci. Although his career has recovered since he left A&M.
Yeah, he's with the Ravens, I think.
Yeah, he's doing great. So good for him. All right, next one here. Big game here. Alabama heading to Georgia. A little bit weird to see a number 17 next to the Alabama logo there. Pretty wild. But Georgia is a 3.5-point favorite right now. You got to go 2 between the hedges. Alabama out of the gate, it looked like I proclaimed the dynasty dead. I still think that's probably the case, really, because I don't think anybody was going to – it didn't matter who the coach was. They're not going to live up to what Nick Saban did. But Alabama's still a solid team. They've got a lot of talent on that roster. It looks like Ty Simpson is starting to figure things out there at Alabama, played very well over the course of the past few weeks. But then on the other side – Georgia, their defense gave up a lot of points to Tennessee, but you had Gunnar Stockton, who people weren't as high on in the preseason, but myself and Hammer, my brother, who's my co-host typically, we were higher on him. We watched him play in the playoff. We watched him beat Texas in the SEC championship game, and he has so far lived up to that. That 4th down throw against Tennessee, I just keep replaying it in my mind. It was an unbelievable throw, and he went toe-to-toe with that Tennessee offense and came out with a win. So I'm fascinated to watch this game. I'm really excited for it at night on ABC. Easton, what are you looking at in this game?
Well, you saw what Georgia did against Tennessee, the 21-7 to start. And if you do that against Alabama, it's going to be more tough to recover than it was against Tennessee, because you can score very easily against Tennessee. Alabama has a better defense than Tennessee does. I think if they do that against Alabama, I think Alabama wins this game. It's going to be a very close one, but I think Georgia covers the spread, and I think they win this game.
Okay.
It's interesting because this has been the one piece that Kirby, with all that success, has not really been able to overcome Alabama. I think he had it in the bag, and they hold or 2 fumbles, and all of a sudden they're way back 3rd and 18 or something. And he just throws a bomb to Devontae Smith on the last play to beat Georgia for the national championship. Even when Saban did come back and beat Alabama in the SEC championship, they come back and beat them in the playoff. I mean, it has been tough sledding for Kirby against Bama, but there's one big omission, and that's the fact that the greatest coach who's ever lived, maybe in any sport, is not on that sideline for Alabama. And give Kalen DeBoer get credit for testing himself and saying, I'm going to go down there and replace Nick Saban, which is literally impossible. I don't know why he did it. Easton likes UW. He could have been there until they erected a statue for him.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he did it to himself, but to come down here, this absolute grinder in the SEC and replace Nick, dude's got some stones, right?
Oh,
but
yeah.
I tell you what, going into Athens is going to be a tough challenge. Now, Ty Simpson has been throwing darts since that Florida State game. Give him credit. I think he's been fantastic. Gunner's run a lot better than I thought he would, and has really helped their run game too. They've got a lot of weapons. Funny is A&M had a 6'5" receiver transfer over there, and he's got 3 catches all year, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Noah Thomas.
Yeah.
I mean, they have got a pretty deep receiving core, and obviously they got players on defense. It's not quite recent vintage Dogs, but it's good enough to beat Alabama at home. I think Paul Feinbaum and that crew down there is going to be going bonkers after this one. Give me the Dogs to cover that spread.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I think those are good picks.
We're right on, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Easton, you did your prep, man. This has been solid. You're doing good.
There's no doubt.
All right, so let's get into our final game here, and then I got one question for you guys before we get out of here. But Oregon and Penn State, that is going to be a massive game. Penn State ahead of this year, a lot of people's pick to win the national title. Ducks as well up there. Dan Lanning, he's a heck of a coach, doing a great job there. Dante Moore has looked really good for the Ducks so far. Neither of these teams, though, really has played anybody of note. So I can't say that we really know a whole lot about these teams. Both of them have been blowing people out. The one interesting stat that I saw about this game, Penn State, very good defense here. Oregon, they've got 31 plays over 20 yards. The Penn State defense has allowed just 3 plays over 20 yards this season. So it's going to be, which one, the immovable object, right? Like who is the one who can break through on that? Is it going to be Penn State's defense that is able to bottle up this Oregon attack, or does Oregon break through? So very interested to see how this one goes. Easton, what do you got in this game?
What a tough pick, man.
I mean, it's so hard because, like you said, they haven't played anyone.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Penn State didn't really lose that many people to the draft, but
only a guy named Tyler Warren, and then the linebacker. Yeah. The linebacker, Abdul Carter, right?
Yes.
But like in terms of numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Still tons of returning talent.
Right.
Singleton and Allard. And Oregon lost their quarterback, Dylan Gabriel.
Right. A good point.
So I think
Evan Stewart's been out for the year.
Yeah. If they just haven't played anyone, quarterback's still trying to figure things out, and just to play no one to go to Penn State at Penn State. That's
in a whiteout.
In a whiteout. That's right.
Yep.
I wish I were at Happy Valley, but we got an Auburn game to go to.
That's gonna be impossible for Oregon to go in there.
I cannot believe you're picking Penn State.
I'm picking Penn State to cover the spread.
Win it and cover the 3.5.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
I like
These are the games that James Franklin loses. Penn State is 4-20 against top 10 teams under James Franklin. And 2 of those were last year in the playoffs against SMU and Snow and Boise State. When you can shut down one guy with that defense and Abdul Carter, well, you probably have a pretty good chance of beating that Boise State team. So that seems a little phony. I know they were good teams, don't get me wrong, but 2 of those 4 teams that they've won ever against top 10 teams under James Franklin was just last year before losing that tight one against Notre Dame. Obviously, they had a little run last year, so give them credit for that. Something tells me, by gosh, we're going to pick the same game. Penn State at home, wide out, Happy Valley is going to find a way. I'm a huge fan, I think you are too, of Dan Lanning. I mean, a huge fan. If you just said, hey, here's your truth serum, I'm going to let you pick a coach, you build this roster from the ground up, and you have unlimited resources, pick any active Division I head football coach. Hey, I'm going Bill Belichick. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm going Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning's my pick. If I can pick any coach at any location, if I'm sitting there at Ames and I can pick any coach besides the one they already have, he's pretty freaking good, then I would pick Dan Lanning. But at the same time, that atmosphere, this is a huge test for Dante Moore. Let's see if he rises up and becomes a Heisman candidate, or does he crater a little bit with all the expectations and he's never experienced anything close to this before. I just had that feeling. Drew Allard, Penn State, they figure out a way to just grind it out. Place is going to be going nuts. It's going to be super tight. This is going to be such a fun game to watch. Zip home after that Auburn game and do what it takes to watch all 4 quarters of this. You know, if you need one of those scooters to help you fight through traffic, park further away so you can get home quick. Do it, because this is going to be such a fun game. I'm with Easton on all 6 picks. We did not prep this. I mean, we did not intend on picking the same games. I don't think he didn't even tell me his picks.
Okay.
Penn State covers it at home.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's going to be this weekend, this Saturday is what the quad box was invented for. You're going to have to, you know, you got Alabama and Georgia on at night. You got this game on at night. It's just you got to have all 4 going, man, because it's going to be fun, and you can't miss a down of any of them.
No, you can't. You're exactly right.
I'll tell you what. I do not want to pick the same thing for all 6 games. I want to have a game where he's rooting for one team and I'm rooting for the other. So I'll change my pick and I'll go Oregon wins this game against Penn State.
I love it, Easton. See, you know, look at this picture behind me. When a snowstorm comes, a cow or a coward runs away from the storm. But when a buffalo knows the storms are coming, like Easton Bock, he's going straight through the storm. Look at that.
That's right.
Straight into it, the 11th hour, going straight into the storm and picking the Ducks to come out on top on the road as a slight underdog.
And those Ducks are going into a storm, man. A whiteout in Penn State is no joke.
Dan's going to have them ready, though. There's nobody that prepares this team better, nobody that recruits better, nobody more organized. Huge fan of Dan Lanning. Same
here. I'm with you. So, all right, that was a lot of fun. I got one final question for you guys before we get out of here. Obviously, here we're Biscuits and SEC. We love the cuisine of the South. We love biscuits, obviously. I want to know, is there a biscuit spot in College Station that you guys love? I'm all for it. And I'm in Austin here. I get back to College Station whenever. So I'm looking for recommendations here a little bit for myself, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
I mean, I got mine. You have yours? You want me to go?
You go first.
I mean, so just today I went to Broken Egg with Billy. They've got a good biscuit, but locally, because that's more of a chain, started in Mandeville, Louisiana, and then they've kind of gone a little bit all over the South. But locally, there's this place called Stella Southern Cafe. You agree or disagree?
You stole mine.
You like it?
Yeah.
Now they do everything is on a biscuit. So you like their biscuit French toast, right?
Biscuit French toast.
Yeah. Well, the French toast is a biscuit.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. See, he's like, something's great about this French toast. It's not toast. It's a biscuit that they toast.
Golly, yeah, that sounds incredible.
Incredible. You got anything to add on that?
I mean, that's what I was going to pick. I thought you were going to pick another place. I was waiting for you to pick someone else. But
well, we're in agreement here, father, son. This place, Stella Southern Cafe, the owner is the son of Harvey Washbangers, which they lost it in a fire. They've actually added the burger, which is so popular, to the menu at Stella. The huevos rancheros are really good, but when you get there, they have an SEC, which is all the egg and everything on a biscuit, and it's kind of like in a bowl, and it's so good. But they have what's called the egg cetera. You get your egg, they have incredible bacon, and then that biscuit is just something else, man. I mean, have you not had it?
I haven't. I've never been to it. Yeah, this sounds amazing. I'm surprised I haven't heard of it.
Don't get confused, because there's Stella Hotel, which also has a restaurant. There's our dog, Stella. And then there is Stella Southern Cafe. You got to go. It's right off Highway 6. So go to the right one, Stella Southern Cafe. Run, don't walk to Stella as a pregame opportunity next time you're in town. You will thank me later, I can guarantee you.
Yeah, I'm writing that down right now. That sounds incredible. I'm all in for that. So I'm going to have to get to. So we do a biscuit of the week every week. You can see it down there on the rundown. You're going to have to DM us a picture. Next time you guys go, DM us a picture from that, and we'll feature it because that sounds amazing.
Got that little sausage gravy going. It's something else, man. Oh, yeah. I love biscuits.
Gentlemen, it was great to have you guys on tonight. Thank you so much for coming on. Gabe, it was great to have you. Listen to you, like I said, for a long time. So really cool to have you on the show. Easton, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. Glad we can have you on. And if you guys have not followed Gabe Bock, please do. You can go down here right there at Gabe Bock. You can check him out on Twitter, on Instagram as well. And then check out the new show that he's doing with Billy Lucci as well, Luch and Bock TexAgs, Luch and Bock TexAgs, which they talk about Texas A&M football weekly. So be sure to go check that out. Gentlemen, Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, tell your brother hi, man. It's a family affair, so I appreciate you having us both.
There you go. Will do. Giga Mags. Hey, beat the hell out of Auburn.
Giga.
All right. Okay, everybody. That was Gabe Bock and Easton Bock. That was a lot of fun having them on. As I said, listen to him for a long time on TexAgs Radio and does a great job breaking down Texas A&M football, which he still does on that podcast that I mentioned, Luch and Bock TexAgs. And also go check out his realty group if you're in the Bryan College Station area or I hear it's great this time of year. Make sure to check them out. Bock Realty Group right there if you guys are looking to buy a home in the Bryan College Station area. So, all right, we got two more quick segments. We got extra football here tonight, baby. There was just a lot to get to. We had Mike Huesmann on earlier, had a really great time with him talking about week 4, what happened in week 4, tons of stuff that we got to. If you missed us early in the show, you can be sure to check out the replay on YouTube, our YouTube channel, just at Biscuits and SEC. And you can check out a bunch of our other videos on there as well, including Jay Busby, the senior writer from Yahoo Sports. His book, Iron in the Blood, has been out for about a month now. Fantastic book on the Iron Bowl. We interviewed him about a month ago for it. So great interview. Go check that out as well. But our final two segments, if you're new here to Biscuits and SEC, we do these every single week. We do our Muschamp Coach of the Week, and then you can see on the rundown there as well, we do our Biscuit of the Week. So the Muschamp Coach of the Week, we love Coach Muschamp here. This is not us making fun of him at all. He embodies what a college football coach is. It didn't go so well for him at South Carolina or at his stop at Florida, but he's got a ton of passion for the game. All his players who ever played for him, they loved him, and he's got tons of little quips and quotes and punching whiteboards and all sorts of stuff, sideline antics. So we love Coach Muschamp here, and every week we award the Muschamp Coach of the Week to a coach that has done something or embodies that spirit that Coach Muschamp exhibits, especially when he was coaching on the sidelines. So this week we had a lot of good nominees who could have won it, but ended up not winning it because there was someone else who ended up getting the top spot. But Biff Poggi at Michigan, who was filling in for Sharon Moore, he had a hilarious quote this week after Michigan beat Nebraska. And he said he was going to eat Haagen-Dazs ice cream, have a cigar, and then go to the hospital. So if you haven't seen that clip, you ought to go check it out. That was in the post-game interview. We also had Brent Venables, who was on with Ryan McGee ahead of their game against Auburn and said, I don't like laughing a lot unless we're kicking ass, which I thought was great. So go look up that one as well. And then finally, our third runner-up was Lane Kiffin for his sideline alley-oops and the way that he handled the situation with his daughter dating Whit Weeks and going official on social media the week of the LSU Ole Miss game. His daughter playing a little bit of mind games with him, and he handled it fairly well. But our true Muschamp Coach of the Week, the man who got the number 1 spot, is a man who really needs no introduction. So check out this clip right here for our Muschamp Coach of the Week.
Form for people that are sitting home drawing an unemployment check. How can you not take the trash out when I told you for 2 years, if you walk by the door and there's a bag of trash, take the trash out? I'm a man. I'm 40.
That's my ringtone for everything.
Oh, it is?
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Well, that wasn't mine. Yeah. Well, I changed mine last night. I figured if he was going to use my ringtone, then I should certainly use his ringtone.
We can be as competitive as anybody in the country on any given day.
We want everybody in the country to know, with all due respect, we got a logo too. The sides that you get on Thanksgiving, you don't get any time during the year.
It started to sink in when I had to get up at 5:45 a.m. and be here before them and prepared for practice. It sunk in real quick.
But then when he did it, I said, oh, heck, I got to do it now. So when I got home, of course, I got it. So Kristen said it made her kind of throw up in her mouth a little bit.
Where are you from?
I'm from Sports Illustrated.
Sweet. I'll be farming. That's what I do. I don't know if I'm any good at it, but I like to do it.
I can't just sit by a pool and just look around.
And I am a vacuuming fool, and I am a bathroom cleaning fool.
I'm a closet Donkey Kong guy. So Todd and Wild Bill They gave us a crash course in about a 15-minute period on the 3 defense mechanisms of a rattlesnake. You remember when in Animal House when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Well, I was in the Germans bombing Pearl Harbor, and one of the young coaches go, "Coach, we don't play TCU." I'm like, well, if we played them.
I was concerned because it's been so long that I didn't know if I could still do it, but I can still do it.
Never seen anything like it. Past my bedtime. I double on Ambien. You do them, 10 milligrams?
Helps you sleep, huh?
I think so. I don't remember. Tropical Smoothie Cafe. I'd have brought a lot to share. Throw a little vodka in there, it'd been a lot better. There wasn't any vodka. That's from this morning. Spilled that sucker. I'm glad I spilled that smoothie on my shirt, sweatshirt. I almost forgot about Stride Stadium. And no smoothie tonight, just water when you get your ass kicked. You walk up next to a 5-foot Western Diamondback rattlesnake and you're not scared, but you're scared to jump out of a plane. Yeah, I am. And motorcycles scare me.
Mike Gundy, absolute legend, and it went sideways there at the end at Oklahoma State. He got fired this week, if you guys haven't heard, which I'm sure you did hear. But he had an incredible run at Oklahoma State and always good for a quip with the media, a little bit fiery at times. We love Coach Gundy here. Maybe he's going to potentially go somewhere else and coach. His little brother, who was on the Oklahoma State staff, said today that he does want to continue coaching. So maybe we'll see him at another stop. This was a quote too, or a tweet from Brett McMurphy of On3, just to give you a little perspective on how successful the tenure of Mike Gundy was at Oklahoma State. But Gundy spent over half his life at Oklahoma State, 35 out of 38 years. And in that time, he was a player, an assistant, a head coach. Before Mike Gundy got to Oklahoma State, they had 4 winning seasons in 16 years. Once Gundy got to Oklahoma State, they had 18 straight winning seasons, which is the 9th longest streak in the NCAA. And Brett McMurphy's quote at the end of his tweet was, "Good ride, Cowboy, good ride." So I agree with that. Mike Gundy had a heck of a ride there. My favorite moment of Mike Gundy while he was at Oklahoma State, it's not the "I'm a man, I'm 40," although it relates to that. It's the Justin Bieber ringtone from about 12, 13 years ago when Justin Bieber had the "I'm a man, I'm 40" on his ringtone, and then Mike Gundy changed his ringtone to Justin Bieber on the ensuing day, which I thought was pretty daggum funny. So there you go. Yep. Rick, agree? Yeah. There was no one else we could give the Muschamp Coach of the Week award this week than to Mike Gundy. Had to be Mike Gundy, even with a bunch of great candidates this week. So congratulations to Mike Gundy. He's got a big trophy case that's full of all kinds of trophies, but I think that he will appreciate this one maybe more than the rest. So we'll be sure to get the certificate in the mail for the Muschamp Coach of the Week to Coach Gundy. So, all right, finally, let's finish off the show with our Biscuit of the Week. And if you guys would like to submit a biscuit, you can always do that. Send us a DM, shoot us an email, contact@biscuitsandSEC.com, and we'd be happy to feature your biscuit, favorite diner in your hometown, favorite diner across the SEC footprint, or it could be homemade as well. We featured homemade biscuits on the show before as well. This week, it is from our main man. You just saw him, Rick Wilmarth, aptly named now Captain Biscuit because he's been a longtime viewer of the show and has sent us in many biscuits before. This week, he was at Cracker Barrel in Madison, Alabama, and he found a biscuit ornament, which I think I need to go buy those in bulk. And we need to get my whole Christmas tree just needs to be all of these biscuit ornaments because those things look awesome. So great find there from Captain Biscuit, Rick Wilmarth. And I'm going to have to visit a Cracker Barrel here soon or go online and find that biscuit ornament. Our mother, Bossman and Hammer, our mother, Ann, she loves Christmas ornaments. And every year she will get us a Christmas ornament, just to, as something of sentimental value. And so if I can't get my hands on about 600 of these, I'm just going to talk to her and ask her if she can get me maybe at least 5 of these biscuit these biscuit ornaments for my tree this year. So also, if you guys want one of those biscuit ornaments, you better check them out. They're going fast at crackerbarrel.com, or you need to get to your local Cracker Barrel. And I think it's okay to go back now. They changed the logo back, and we all got the old logo back. So I think we're all good to go there. I think it's okay to step foot back into Cracker Barrel. So anyway, that is going to do it for us tonight. We had a fantastic show. That was a lot of fun with Mike Huesmann on earlier, and also having Gabe Bock and his son Easton Bock on talking about the upcoming games this Saturday. It's a packed full slate. Cannot wait to watch all the games this weekend. It's going to be a ton of fun. As always, sign up here for the Biscuits and SEC. Sign up at biscuitsandsec.com/newsletter for the Morning Biscuits newsletter that it comes to you on Mondays and on Fridays, written by myself and by Hammer. Everything you need to know about what's going on in the SEC, injury reports, big storylines, etc., where SEC Nation and College Game Day are going to be. We just get you prepped for the week on Mondays and do a little bit of recap from what happened over the weekend. And then on Fridays, we get you set up and all ready for the weekend ahead and all the big games coming up on Saturday. Free to sign up. So just be sure to go down there, biscuitsandsec.com/newsletter. You can also check us out at biscuitsandsec.com. We got content that's coming out each week up there. You can check out some of my more in-depth thoughts on what happened in week 4 right now at biscuitsandsec.com. So be sure to go check that out. As always, be sure to follow us on social media at Biscuits and SEC, and check us out and subscribe to the channel at Biscuits and SEC. And be sure as well to check out everything going on the After Dark Network. We got Mike Huesmann, who was on with us earlier. He does Offseason After Dark. Typically, that comes out on Tuesdays, and he's all over. He does everything from G6 to the ACC to the SEC, talking all kinds of good stuff over there, and may get you informed on some teams that you may not typically follow. So I would definitely go and give him a follow there at Offseason After Dark. We will be on tomorrow night, SEC After Dark, to make our picks. That is every Thursday at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. You can follow at SEC_after_dark to be sure to check out everything we got going on over there. Jake Thomas let us in tonight. He is Bama After Dark. You can check him out at Bama After Dark too. His show typically comes out on Tuesdays around 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. Sometimes he has to do it on Wednesdays, which is why he let us in tonight. And then you can also check out Corey Burton and Ishmael Troop over on the Regular Guys pod. They talk about football. Ishmael is a high school football coach at the moment, and Corey Burton has been in the game for a long time, was with Rivals, and also does some PA announcing now for his local high school. So be sure to check them out. They talk about everything from football to pop culture to movies and all sorts of stuff. So be sure to check them out at Regular Guys pod. So we are brought to you guys by the Steer Agency. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys next week. We'll see you tomorrow for SEC After Dark, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and we'll see you here every Wednesday going forward throughout the season, every Wednesday at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. So that is going to do it for us tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching, and enjoy the games this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. See you guys tomorrow night.